Very pleased that I'll be joined here at SB Nation by the one and only internationally famous trophy case, even more full than it has been throughout the course of her life. I don't know if I should say U.S. Women's Amateur Champion, Stanford superstar, internet superstar, but Megha Ganne. Megha, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me. That's like the best intro I think I've ever gotten.
You've talked a lot of golf, like lately, and the last few days. We're chatting on Wednesday after you won the U.S. Women's Am, and I want to get to golf, but I want to start with something. And doing, obviously, I'm well familiar with you and your career to this point, but doing a little bit more research, I found that you are a theater fan, and so I want to start there. What is you're passionate about being in theater? Do you enjoy watching theater?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious for the 30,000-foot perspective here.
Yeah, no, people have really taken this and run with it. I'm not a massive theater fan, but it was something that I did when I was younger. The last thing that I was in, I was a freshman in high school, but yeah, I do love going to Broadway, and I did really like to sing, and can't say that I still sing a lot for many people, but yeah, I did really enjoy being on stage, and just thought like performing arts was super fun.
What's your favorite show that you've seen in person, and then kind of a bucket list one?
Ooh, I recently saw there's so many good ones. I saw And Juliet recently on Broadway, and that was really good. And yeah, and I like all the classic,
all the cliches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Wicked's really good. I think Rent's all right. That kind of stuff. That's great. I mean, it's not common that you hear that. It's like in a random kind of golf interview, somebody being like, "Yeah, I really like theater." So I was just kind of curious. Do you listen to like a musical soundtrack while you're on the range or anything?
Not on the sometimes the Lion King soundtrack. I'll be honest. That was like a lot of that was a very intimate question, but I'll answer it honestly.
I didn't think it was, but it can be for some people. That's true.
Yeah.
Now that we're here, we talking the movie soundtrack or the Broadway version of the show?
Both are very good, and I really like the new one, the Mufasa soundtrack too.
That's not for me. I'm a little bit older than you, and so I have a 3-year-old, so he's super into the cartoon now. So I'm at that cycle in life where I'm just like redoing it. And I'm like, dude, this was cool way back when.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so U.S. Women's Amateur Champion, you have one of the most decorated collegiate careers, amateur careers. Do you view this as like a cherry on top, or do you view this as something that you always, not in a braggadocious way, but you always thought would happen? You always thought that these things would come just because you've been such an amazing player for like half your life at this point.
Oh, thank you. I do feel like I've always envisioned it for myself. I did feel myself running out of time in the last few years as amateur golf is coming to a close. So I can't say that I was like expecting it, but I did have a feeling that I just felt like there's no way I leave amateur golf without claiming a big title like this one. And it feels like fate, and I'm just really, really blessed.
I think that it's cool when the stories make sense. I also cover the NFL, and so it can be kind of unfulfilling when the Super Bowl winner is just like a dud. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't feel right. I don't know if you follow the NFL, but like the Los Angeles Rams won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and like if that hadn't happened, I don't think anybody would have cared. I don't know if you're a Rams fan, obviously.
No, I'm not. I don't follow a lot of football, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
So, but for you, like if your career was theater, that it happened at Bandon is really cool. It just like provides this awesome stage, and that it required you conquering match play, which has been kind of like a thorn for you a little bit. It really is theater. I mean, I don't know if you have felt that way in the days that have passed, that it kind of, the narrative of it all was really wonderful. Although obviously painful to experience along the ride.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think it does feel like a great bow on the whole, on the last 10 years that I've had. And it's surreal that something that, you always know that you could do, but doesn't quite happen, actually does happen. And I mean, the reaction from my friends and family has, it feels like we've all won this, and it's been pretty special.
You have grown up and succeeded and thrived, not in a literal sense, but professionally, for lack of a better term,
Mhm.
obviously in the social media era. And I'm curious, as you've done what you've done, and as you get set for your final year at Stanford, what's the most like holy crap moment? Like what was the like Instagram collab request or the Instagram follow that you got that you were like, I can't believe this is really happening to me, sort of thing.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't get an Instagram until I was 18. So
That makes sense. Good for your
kind
parents.
of a little late to the game. So I would say that my following grew slowly, and I don't think I have a huge Instagram presence currently, and I only really post golf on there. So um, I actually I try to stay off of it. I do post a lot, but I don't consume a lot, I guess. So I don't know if I have an answer to that question. I was TikTok famous unrelated to golf for like a few videos when I was in high school, when I was in COVID and very bored. Um,
Well,
so
I mean, you can't like start that story without explaining it if you
well,
would.
no, I made one video and I was just so bored during COVID, and um, I since got locked out of the account, so I don't even know if I could take it down if I tried. But I think it had like 6 million views,
Okay.
and it was just like a random funny video that people liked.
You
But
know, yeah.
you could, yeah, I'm sure you could Google it. It's just my name, but
Random TikTok videos were pretty
oh,
popular in COVID.
okay, my answer to the question. I never even answered your question. I'm sorry. The when I was doing that on TikTok, one video I was able to, through the Junior Ryder Cup, we were able to caddy during the celebrity matches for the celebrity day that they
Mhm.
have at the Ryder Cup, and I was on the bag for Tom Felton, who plays Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter, and so he made an appearance in my TikToks. Maybe that can count.
Megha, we've gotten off to a great start here, but I
Yeah.
asked you about theater, and then you felt compelled to explain to me who Tom Felton was. So I'm, a little, give me a little bit more credit
Okay,
here.
okay, you're right. I was
Yeah,
doing it for the audience of people who were watching. It wasn't
that's
for you.
true. That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
When you look back on your amateur career, and you have a lot of decisions to make, and you also have a senior year to live, and my advice to you would be to enjoy that because nothing will ever be the same.
Yeah.
But how do you manage that? I mean, I think that's great perspective that like, you didn't have Instagram till you were 18, but how do you juggle doing professional things and having a semi-professional that isn't literally professional lifestyle while also getting set for, tests and exams and quizzes and then also balancing a social life if you want to have that or whatever. Like that's a very difficult thing for an adult to do or an accomplished, not an accomplished, but an older adult. It's impossible for someone your age. So how do you manage that?
Yeah, I think the key, and I've said this a few times, but like it's like you're never going to be able to have it all in balance, all three at
Mm,
the same time. And I think accepting that and just knowing that you're not always going to feel fulfilled in every bucket of your life every day is the first step, and then choosing what you want to prioritize that day or that week. And, there's weeks where I put down the clubs and just hang out with my friends, and then there's weeks where I isolate and just do school and golf. So I think it's checking in with yourself and seeing what you need, because you're never really going to be like top of your game in all categories of your life, because that's impossible, I think, for anyone in any career. So that's what I've learned.
that's some really great perspective as well. You seem pretty grounded, so good for you, and again, good for your parents. You talked about how this past week was maybe the kind of bow on top. What was the grabbing of the sides of the ribbon? Like, what were those two moments that if you can pinpoint them, like maybe it was a specific tournament, whether it was your junior career, or maybe it was going to Stanford. Like, what were the moments where you felt like you had one side of each shoelace, or the opposing sides of the shoelace to begin tying the bow that you just kind of did, if that makes sense.
Okay. I mean, I think Stanford is the biggest one.
So that's one side. Okay.
Opened a lot of doors for me. Met so many cool people, surrounded by teammates that made my golf game better, and coaches that facilitated that opportunity. That's one. And then I would say the U.S. Open in 2021. Um, it showed me that I really, really want it and want to be in that spotlight again and feel that type of crushing pressure on a final day, crushing in a good way. Um, And so I think an experience like that drives you to just crave it, to feel it again. And you get such a high off of being in contention and playing against the best in the world that you just find ways to be there again. So I think that was a big motivator for me to find ways to play more events at the highest level and put myself in the mix.
I think that's an important distinction that you've made, is that you want it. Because a lot of people, a lot of really good amateur players just decide, you know what, this isn't for me. Like I'll just be a scratch golfer and you know, on the side of my, you know, day job or whatever. But that's, you have to, I think every amazing athlete makes that decision. And if you don't, then you're living in both worlds and you simply can't do that. What is the golf moment that will stand out over this past weekend? Was it rallying back to, you know, make things exciting? I mean, like when you look, because some of the memory will fade. That's just the way life goes.
Yeah.
What's the moment that you'll look back and feel like that was really it for me? That was when it all began to click.
I think I'm going to remember that back 9 at Bandon really well. I think those holes 11 through 17 are some of the hardest holes to play under pressure, shot making wise, in the wind. And it just requires so much fearless golf and making swings and committing to lines that you're not going to be able to execute unless you're 100% certain. And knowing that I had that feeling and ability for every single match I played, and that's where I was able to close out matches in those holes. I think I'll hang on to those memories of especially hitting a lot of the approach shots that I did into those holes.
Where does Bandon rank for you as far as courses you've played now? You're a little bit biased emotionally, so I mean, I wouldn't fault you for being like, yeah, it's the greatest of all time. But where does it rank?
After the practice round, I said it's easily in my top 10, and after this week, emotionally, it's going to be in my top 5.
Okay, well, like, what are the other 4 then? If you can, maybe you don't have to get to 4, but what are the other ones that kind of? I'd imagine Augusta's.
If I exclude Augusta and Cypress Point, I'm just going to take those 2 out of it. I would say that Marion, where we played the Curtis Cup, is one. Bayonne and Liberty, just because it's so close to home for me, and I think they're really special places for me, are in that list. Bandon, Olympic Club, again, an emotional pick, and Pebble Beach, where I had my first college win, is also in that list. That was more than 5, but I feel like that was short enough.
That's okay. I played Pebble this past spring, and so like I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Like I can compartmentalize that emotionally. It was just the time of my life, and so like I feel better about my day and my experience there because you picked it. If that makes sense. Okay, some last kind of blitz ones, a football term, because that's how lazy I am with some stuff. You guys are kind of the hunted on the collegiate level. There's no question about that. And now it's like, oh, we're really good, and we have Megha on the team, and she's the women's AM champion. Like, you seem comfortable thriving in that. Is that fun to be, you know, the feared, the one that everybody wants, even though sometimes you wind up losing? I mean, I think you'd rather be that than be anything else.
Yeah, I think so. I think I don't say that we really think about it or even feel it when we're at Stanford. You're surrounded by so much greatness all the time. And Paula on my team, she won the British Amateur this year and also the European Ladies Championship. And and then, you know, we have our whole lineup is top 20 in the world, and 3 of us are now top 5 in the world. So you don't really feel special on that team in a sense. I mean, the team is special, but I think we make a lot of really impressive feats seem like what we're supposed to be doing, and we all push each other. So I think we create our own little bubble, and I can't say that we think about the bigger narrative of being the hunted, as you referred to. And yeah, I guess that's why it works. And
yeah, you don't have to tell me. I'm a Sun Devil, so I mean, I really hate y'all on a lot of levels. But you know, it just kind of is what it is. Where do you hope your golf game is a year from now? And you can take that from the perspective of saying, like, I hope my wedges are better, or I hope I've accomplished X, Y, and Z. It's fully your question.
Yeah, I'd love to have another national title with our team at NCAA's. I think that's one of my biggest goals, because team golf is just so rare, and it's fleeting, and you don't get to be a part of this team once I'm gone here. So I think that's top of my list. And yeah, I think I'm hoping to continue to try to hit the ball further and you just improve every part of my game as much as I can. I have a whole year at a beautiful practice facility at Stanford, and just get ready to turn pro after that.
On the subject of turning professional, then the LPGA tournament you're most looking forward to?
The U.S. Women's Open at Riviera in June.
That was a really like company answer, Megha. You're ready for the professional circuit. So well done. Okay, you're a college student. So best thing you watched? I imagine you might have streamed an entire show or something over summer. You were very busy, so maybe you didn't. But best thing you've watched recently?
Best thing I watched recently. I've been a big fan of all the new like Apple TV shows. I think they're all really underrated. Let me think.
That's a very also Stanford answer.
Well, yeah, actually, this is not your question, but I'll give an answer that I think is like more entertaining. So I'm sure a lot of people watch Severance, and what a lot of people don't know is the office space that it's filmed in, like Lumen Industries, is in my hometown. Like I live 2 minutes from Lumen Industries. That
is very cool. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I go there. That's where my gym is, inside of that building. And that was like the high school hangout spot for Homedale, New Jersey. So, and I didn't know that watching the show. So I turned it on just at a tournament, and I was like freaking out because it was #1 on Apple TV. Didn't know what it was about. And then I was like, this is my hometown. So
that is
I do love that show. I thought it was good. I know everyone doesn't agree with that, but I'd go Severance.
I don't know anyone who doesn't agree with that. It's awesome. The studio on Apple TV is kind of newish. It's great. Highly recommend. Last one.
Dead to Me on Netflix. That's another one I'll stand by.
Is that the Christina Applegate, Christina Ricci show? I think that's what it is.
I don't know.
Not. Maybe. That's okay. That's okay. Last one, and this is a selfish one. Okay. My family and I are going to the Augusta National Women's Amateur next year. So for someone who is going, I've been to the Masters as a patron, but I'm super pumped. Well, I'm excited about it. So like a rundown for a patron who's going to attend the women's, because you don't like every year you see the list of like things to do at the Masters. What I'm trying to compile is the things to do at the end.
Okay. Well, I will say I've been to a Monday practice round at the Masters, which I think is like similar ticket sizing. But the women's amateur is great because they limit the amount of tickets. So you can actually walk around way more than you'd be able to on any other day that you get a ticket there. So I think you'll see more of the golf course. You'll see more golf shots and less lines, I guess, and like better shopping. You can like get that out of the way. So yeah, I mean, everything you could do there is pretty good, but I'd say go watch some good golf from the best amateurs on the women's side. That's the #1 thing to do.
From the Sun Devils in attendance was how you were going to finish that sentence, obviously.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be some Sun Devils in the field.
Absolutely. Megha, congratulations. Your amateur career has been incredible and remarkable, and I'm certain that your professional one is going to be as well. I wish you health, wealth, and happiness across your senior year. Make memories, take all the pictures, go to all the things, stay up late. You'll never get this time back, so I hope it's wonderful. I hope it's wonderful for you in every single way. But thank you for the time, and congratulations again.
Thanks for having me. It was great to talk to you.